Video is on operators in Scratch. Let's begin. Your operators list is over here in green. Got a lot of different things here, and you got to use operators as part of something else most of the time. It's not like, oh, in motion, I can just move forward 10 steps. Great. No, the operators are going to allow you to do other things. So let's go down these in line. So the first thing we have math operators here, how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So great. I can just say what's 5 and 2, and those add those two numbers together. Look, I click, it says 7. Oh, great. I can do subtracting. What's 5 minus 2? See, 5 minus 8 will get negative numbers. Yep, -3. If I did multiply, I can go 0 times, I don't know how big of a number I can do is 0. Can I just do really big numbers? Yeah, I don't know what the limit is. There's probably some limit. And you can even divide numbers. I go 1 divided by something weird, and I'll get a decimal number here. Ooh, it does. Exponentials. E to the -12 means times 10 to the -12. That's a really small decimal right there. Okay, but let's say I said I kept it realistic, 26. They're a decimal that you can actually understand. So yeah, I don't know what the limits are on these numbers. I bet it's going to be pretty big, and I bet it's farther than you'll ever go. What's a nice thing you might do is you might say, let's say I did this adding numbers here. I can go back to like sensing, and I can say the mouse X position and the Y position. I can add them together. And let's say, you know what? I'm going to have an event, a forever loop. And I'm going to say Scratch here is going to say not hello. I can make him just say my X position. He's just going to keep repeating whatever the X position of my cursor is. Cool. And not only that, I can make him say the X plus Y position. Why would I add those together? I don't know. But he's just going to do the math on those. So anytime you have these curvy things, that means you're going to deal with numbers. So now I have Scratch saying those things all the time. Cool. Other operators you can do in here. We can pick a random number. So maybe you want to pick especially you might need to generate random numbers all the time. Let's see, a random number between 1 and 10. Now Scratch is just saying a random number between 1 and 10 every 1 second. Great. And it doesn't have to be between 1 and 10. It can be 1 and like, a really big number. And then you can go into negative numbers like -6 or whatever to 0. You want to just deal with negative numbers only, you can. I don't know if it deals with decimals if I go like 0.5. Oh, look. Well, that's crazy. So if you go to decimals, it's now doing decimals to 2 places. I wonder how many if I did like a 5. Okay, so it looks like when you do decimals, it's only going to go to 2 places. So that's another thing to think about. You want to do decimal numbers, random, you can go up to 2 decimal places. Good to know. If you use any decimals in here, it's going to do that. That's good to know. Other things in here. So whenever you round things, those give you numbers. Whenever you have the pointy edges here, this is where we're dealing with true or false. So one thing we have is the greater than, less than, and then the equal to signs. There's no less than or equal to. I wish they'd have that in here. That's kind of annoying. Why don't you just have, I mean, you can build it. So let's say if I said the number is 51 greater than 50, I click on it, it's going to say true, right? But if I say is 51 less than 50, it's going to say false, right? False, true. Great. It'll do math. You can also, again, you can drag these things in here, these numbers. The mouse X position greater than 50, that's false. If you remember, if you want to see oh, you can't just make it see the X position on the screen. I don't know how to do that. Sometimes you can. I guess you really can. You see it down here. What if I didn't want to do the mouse X position? I'm just going to do Scratch's X position. So you go into motion. You can drag this over here. I can say that. This is X position. His X position is -75. Now he's at 40. That's going to be false. It's not less than 50. 140. Cool. So you can drag Scratch's information in there too. I'm just gonna drag those for now. Or his direction or whatever numbers you want to do. What if you want to do is it greater than or equal to? How would you add an or equal to in there? So that's because like I want to say, is it equal to or is it greater than? And that's you can create those with these and or and nots. So notice how and right here and or. And let's try not. Oops. and not. They have a pointy shape, not even a hexagon. They have well, I guess it is hexagon, 6-sided, right? It's just not a regular hexagon. Sure. But the pointy ends. So that means inside of these ands, ors, and nots, you have to put another true and false. So the idea with and is both sides have, and to be true, both sides have to be true. And is both sides. Or is either side. So either side. If one side is true or the other side is true, everything's true. If they're both true, it's true. But if both are false, or is going to print out a false. So and is where both sides have to be true, or is where one or more sides has to be true. And not will do the opposite. So, this is getting a little bit more confusing if you haven't done this before. But so maybe I wanted to say, well, is 51 greater than 50? Hello? All right. So what's happening here if we did an and right here? So is 51 greater than 50? Well, we know 51 is greater than 50. That's true. But is 51 equal to 50? If I said an and, that would be false because 51 is not equal to 50. And so that would be false. But like maybe if I want to do is it greater than or equal to, I can use an or campaign. So like if I said or, this whole thing's going to be true because the left side's true, but the right side's false. No one cares. Maybe if I wanted to say both of these were 50, that's going to be true because the right side's true, right? Now, the not is just going to make it the opposite. So 50 equals 50 is true. But if I put it inside the not, now we're false. Not just kind of flips it. It turns the true as false and it turns the false as true. So there you go. Those are fancier logics. If that's confusing, it might be a little bit more of an intermediate thing. So don't worry about it. Other things here. Now this gets a little bit more intermediate right here. Join. So what if you wanted, so here's the thing. So I want Scratch to say something. Maybe I want Scratch to say, I want him to say hello. I want him to say hello and then my name, right? Well, how do I have it say my name? So one thing about this is my username. I want him to say hello, my username right here, right? Did this in the sensing video. My username is PJ Brophy. I want him to say hello, PJ Brophy. Well, how do I make him say hello, PJ Brophy? I can't say hello. I want him to say whatever my username is that I'm logged into. So I don't want to type it in there. But how do I make him do this? And I can make it do this with this operator, this join operator. So join operator will join two strings together. So I don't want him to say hello. I want him to say hello. And then I can add my username in there. Where is it? Username right here. So now that I've joined these two text words together, he's going to say, hello, PJ Brophy. That's cool if you want to combine things. This helps if you have variables or if you want him to say, hello, and then the mouse position. We can say, your X mouse position is that. Great. Maybe you want him to print out that, or you want him to print out some other kind of information like that. So that's a way to combine like either variables or the current month or the current day, whatever. Or you want him to, the random number is, and he picks a random number. The random number is 7. So this would be him to say like the random number is whatever I'm going to pick up. Yep, I spelled it wrong. I don't care. So another neat thing you can do here if you want to be crazy, let's say I wanted to pick up, I had a word like my username, but for some reason I want to just do the first letter of my username, right? I can use this letter of this. So watch this. When I do this, it's just going to say letter 1 of the username. And my username is PJ Brophy, so just pick the P. If I said 2, I'm going to say the J, and so on. Is this going to be useful to you? I don't know. What if I did like the number 0? I wonder if it would. Okay, so it doesn't, a neat thing here, if you did Python, this is kind of like those index. We did an index of a string in Python. We usually would start 0 would be the first one. But in this case, We don't start at 0 in Scratch, we start at 1. All right? So, and it doesn't look like it deals with negative numbers at all. I can't even type a -1 in. So it doesn't behave the same way Python would. Python, you would start at the letter 0 instead of letter 1. Careful if you use this. You also do the length of username. So what if I want to just say how many characters, how many letters, or characters actually, is in my username? It's going to say 8. Maybe if someone types out, maybe you would need that for something. I don't know. Can you do a length of a number? Let's say I have 555. That's actually going to say 3. And you're like, what? 555? How did I get 3? Well, how many digits are in 555? Right? You know what crazy thing? What would this say? I'm curious if a length of 5 minus 8. 2. Oh, because it would give you a -3. So -3 is 2 characters. So this length will be 2. That's crazy. What if you did 1 divided by 26? This is a big decimal. I'm curious what this will be. 20. Okay, so this will actually do all these characters right here. If I did that 29, is like 20? Okay, so 20 when they do decimals, this is like the max length of characters. What if you did 31? Okay, I'm trying things. No, I'm trying if I did. Okay, what if I did that? That'd still be okay. 18. Okay, interesting. I don't know. I'm playing around with things. I'm learning something new. I don't know how this works. So it'll tell you how many characters are in that number. You don't have to convert it to like a string or anything like in Python. That's kind of neat. Other things in here. Oh, look, this is a true or false. Does the username contain a certain character? Does it contain like a P? Yes, my username does because I have a P in there. Does it contain like a U? That's a false because I don't have a U in my name. Would it do like PJ for a PJ Brophy? Oh, cool. But if I said PB, because P and B next to each other, that'd be false. Okay, so it can do like a combination of the letters too, not just one. So that's kind of neat. Other math things. So the final thing, we have some weirder math functions. So let's talk about mod right here. Mod is, I'm just going to drag it down here. Mod is kind of a remainder. So if I did, if I did the numbers, let's say I said 10 divided by 2, and that's going to give you 5, right? But if I did 10 mod 2, that's going to give me 0. It's remainders. So let's say if I said 11 mod 2, it's going to give me 5.5, right? But if I did 11 mod 2, it's going to give me 1. So think about this like you've done like long division before. So if I said 11 and divide it by 2, that goes in 5 times. You get 5 times 10, and you have 1 left over. Sometimes you say 5 remainder 1. So that remainder 1 is the same thing as modulo. All right. So why is that useful? Sometimes we've used it before if we want to like generate a random number. In Python, we'd use it to generate random numbers. But if we wanted the random numbers to only be between like a small range, although we have this random number generator function right here. So I don't know if you need mod, but it's there. We can also round a number. So what does round do? I don't know. I think it probably rounds it to the near, like a decimal. They have 11.9, it'll round it up to 12. 11.5 should round up to 12. But if you had 11.4, you can round it down to 11. So, okay, it rounds it. You have a decimal, rounds it to the nearest integer. That's kind of nice. Maybe you have some calculations in there, but you don't want it as a decimal. You want to have it to the nearest integer. Now, last thing in here, we have this thing which covers absolute value, floor, and ceiling. So what if you want floor is if you want it to always round down. So 11.9 is going to round down to 11. Maybe you always want to round down, so you do floor. Ceiling would mean you're always rounding up. So if I do like 11.2, that's going to round up to 12. You can square root, sine, cosine, tangent, arc sine, cosine, tangent, inverse sine, natural log, regular log, exponential, 10 to the exponent. You can do those math things if you need them. They're all there. And that is it for operators. Your big things again, random, basic operators in here, ways to do true and false. You might be combining these to all sorts of crazy stuff. All right, that's it.